The man in the suit does realize that he is dancing strangely. In fact, he is fully aware of how strange he may appear to some. It is Talking Heads lead singer David Byrne singing their UK #1 hit, Once in a Lifetime. Strangely enough, he is just being himself. Talking Heads are a new wave band started by David Byrne, Chris France, and Tina Weymouth when they met at Rhode Island School of Design in the early 70s. They relocated to New York City, where they enlisted the help of keyboardist Jerry Harrison. They brought clubs like CBGB's and the Mud Club into the public eye. Talking Heads released their first album, Talking Heads 77, in 1977. It was highlighted by Psycho Killer and Pulled Up. When they collaborated with Brian Eno, the magic began. Eno encouraged the group to explore a wide variety of musical styles that ultimately helped shape the band's future.
I can't seem to face up to the buzz.
Talking Heads were and still are kind of the ultimate art school band who figured out how to turn that geeky art schoolness into really listenable but still complex rock music.
Punk had been sort of reasonably rigid in its outlook, and Talking Heads really started sort of shifting the boundaries outwards and saying, you know, you can incorporate all this stuff into what you do and it's still cool.
We discovered that through music we could say almost whatever you want to say in a way that's entertaining to people. Seems like one of the ideal kind of art forms for the 20th century.
Talking Heads centered their music on being weird. Byrne's abstract voice, backed by their synthesis and Weymouth's bass, collaborated to create a sound that was new, different, and futuristic. Over their tenure, Talking Heads released 8 studio albums: Talking Heads 77 in 1977, More Songs About Buildings and Food, and Fear of Music in 1979, Remain in Light in 1980, Speaking in Tongues in 1983, Little Creatures in 1985, True Stories in 1986, and Naked in 1988. In addition to their studio albums, Talking Heads released 2 live albums. The name of this band is Talking Heads in 1982, and Stop Making Sense in 1984. Stop Making Sense was also a video. Stop Making Sense was a piece that defined the legacy of the Talking Heads and helped set a standard for the rest of the world. Stop Making Sense has argued to be the best concert documentary of all time. Talking Heads took 3 concerts from their Speaking in Tongues tour and spliced together the best footage to create the movie. The result was a fantastic masterpiece that is still very watchable today. The movie was praised by critics for its musical sounds and choreography alike. At this stage in the band's career, they had grown to include a large ensemble, including backup singers, an African rhythm section, and new synthesis. David Byrne also wore his trademark big suit while singing "Girlfriend Is Better." Stop Making Sense also included an interview of David Byrne dressed as multiple characters interviewing himself. Here's what David Byrne had to say about the film and about the band.
We only have a few minutes, so try to be brief. Okay. I would do absolutely anything you say. Right. Why did you call the movie Stop Making Sense? Because it's good advice. Because music and performing does not make sense. Amazing. It is my job. How did you ever think of that big suit? Why a big suit? I like symmetry and geometric shapes. I wanted my head to appear smaller, and the easiest way to do that was to make my body bigger. Because music is very physical. Ooh. And often the body understands it before the head. What are you going to do next? A project with songs based on true stories from tabloid newspapers. It's like 60 Minutes on acid. I'll bet. What made you think of having the musicians come out one at a time? Well, if the curtain opened and everything was there would be nowhere to go. It tells the story of the band, and it gets more dramatic and physical as it builds up. It's like 60 Minutes on acid.
I don't think you have a very good voice, but you're a singer. How do you do that?
The better the singer's voice, the harder it is to believe what they're saying. So I use my faults to an advantage. You want to be in movies like The Prince, The Sting, the David Bowie? Only when absolutely necessary. I would like to show people the movies in my head.
When are you going to tour again?
When there is something new to say to an audience, then we'll tour again. Besides new songs, when the only way to say that thing is to a live performance making. That's what we'll be doing. Then it's what we have to do is to be touring. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Yeah. We see a variety of hairstyles in rock groups these days, huh? One must never underestimate the power of a good hairdo. I'd like to write a song about hairdos, not about the people under them. Then the do's have a power by themselves. I wrote a song about hairdos myself. You want to hear it? Maybe later. What do the words of your songs mean to you? I mean, you don't write love songs, do you? I try to write about small things. Paper, animals, a house. Love is kind of big. I have written a love song, though. In this film, I sing it to a lamp.
Due to problems within the band, they officially disbanded in 1991, but their legacy continues today. Problems had surmised between Byrne and the rest of the band, so a comeback tour is highly unlikely. Byrne went on to have a successful solo career that still continues today. His most recent work, a collaboration with Brian Eno and Fatboy Slim, called Here Lies Love in 2010, was very well praised by critics. Weymouth in France, who had gotten married, started a hip-hop influenced band called Tom Tom Club that toured sporadically for a few years. Weymouth, France, and Harrison also started a project called The Heads, which featured various vocalists for a brief period. Byrne later sued his former bandmates for ripping off their former name. Eno went on to continue producing music and worked for U2 after his time with Talking Heads. In 2002, they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The band came back together to play 3 songs for their induction, but as Byrne states that musically we are just miles apart. Musically, they have influenced many artists including Radiohead, who took their name from a Talking Heads song. Dave Matthews Band has also covered Burning Down the House with much success. They sang it last year at their performance at the NFL Kickoff Special. The Muppets also made a Talking Heads tribute featuring Kermit the Frog in the big suit. Since they split up, rock has never been the same as it ever was.